just bought a Suzuki Burgman 400. Why did I decide to buy this scooter over all of the other scooters that are out there? I'll give you some reasonings that were important to me, and I'll give you a quick walk around. So why a new scooter? I spent months, okay, maybe even years, creating a spreadsheet, looking at all the different scooters, trying to find the right one that fits me, fits my wife, and how we like to do things. I'm not getting any younger. I'm thinking this is probably my last big new scooter purchase. So I wanted to get one that would fit all of our needs. I mean, sure, I've got my Vespa back here, and it's a nice scooter. It's a 300cc. I wanted something that could meet all of the speed requirements. I wanted something that was comfortable enough to spend all day on. I wanted something that I could put in my trailer and take it places. That's kind of our next big thing. We want to go to different parts of the country, park the car, get on the scooter, tour all of the cool scenery, towns, whatever, and the scooter just works out well for that. I also wanted something that wasn't killer in weight. I've had a Suzuki Burgman 650 and we love that bike, but it was really heavy and really hard to move around in the garage. It wasn't the most nimble in tight spaces at slow speeds, in towns. So we wanted something that would fit all of these things. And one of the big things for us is that most of the riding is two up. So my wife is always on the back, or almost always on the back. So we needed to have something that fit her, that was comfortable for her. She's short, she's 5'1", and we wanted to make sure that she enjoyed the ride as much as I enjoyed the ride driving. So those are some of the reasons. We'll do a quick walk around. I'll point out some things and go over some of the stuff that I didn't find in videos when I did the research, so that perhaps somebody watching my video will see some of the little things that might make a difference for their decisions. So before I take the camera and do a walk around, I'm going to show this first piece from a distance. So one of the big things for me, as I had mentioned, I'm not getting any younger. I wanted to be able to control my bikes. I wanted a good foot plant. And anybody looking at scooters, you know, scooters, because of the seat being high with the engine underneath the seat, you don't get a lot of opportunity to have something lower to the ground. So most of the seats range anywhere from 31 to as high as 33 inches. Although I can do comfortably well with a 32-inch seat height. You know, after you ride for a while, you get kind of tired. You know, it can become an issue. So this bike has a 29.7-inch seat height. You know, I'm perfectly flat-footed. Either way, you know, it's great. Very comfortable. And that, to me, was a big selling point on this scooter. As far as I know, it's the only scooter out there that has a seat height of 29.7, under 30 inches. You can see how easy it is to get up onto the center stand too, while I'm right here with the camera far away. Totally flat-footed, as you can see. See how that little notch really works out well for your foot. I mean, yeah, you could put it out there. That's kind of weird, but yeah, right here. Boom. And you can see I still have a lot of bend in my knee. I didn't really mention when I started making the video that one of the reasons why I wanted to even do this video is because when I was doing my research, there's just not a ton of videos out there that give you good information. I mean, yeah, you've got the promo ones, you got the guys doing the test rides, but I wanted to get into it a little more in depth. I also am going to do some videos doing some add-ons. Granted, there's not a ton of add-ons for Burgman scooters, but there are windshields, top boxes, heated grips, you know, a few things like that. So I will continue to make videos showing those things, because like right now on YouTube, there is nothing out there on how to change the oil on this bike or how to put the windshield on. So hopefully I can help others out as they make their purchases. So let's go back to the seat for just a minute. I told you that I really enjoy the 29.7 inch seat height. You saw while I was sitting on it that I had a very upright position. They've altered the newer models to have a little more of an upright riding feel, and it is true, it definitely feels different. I am 5'11" with a 32.5 inch inseam. Fits me perfectly. I can put my feet down in the standard position here. I can put them out in the more cruiser position here. And I actually prefer that position more than anything. And it's really, really comfortable. It also has this nice little kind of cutout right here so that when you put your feet down, you can get a nice straight shot to the ground to hold the bike up at stoplights. They've improved the seat. They've made some material changes inside it. It's a lot more comfortable, not as hard as my 650 seat was. This little bolster right here has several positions, and there's some screws under the seat that you can take out, and you can move it back and forth a little bit. This is the stock setting. Right now I like that. Maybe as I use it more, you know, I might make that adjustment. But for right now, I'm really happy with it. The passenger piece of the seat, you can see that it's got kind of a nice little slope here, and it kind of slopes up here too. When I had my wife on the back, it was very comfortable for her. She didn't feel like she was going to fall off. I will put a top box on it. That's one of my videos coming up. But she was very, very comfortable and very secure. So I like that. And then let's just come down while we're talking about positioning and everything. And this is the passenger pegs, or at least this side of it anyway. So one of my biggest concerns, and really the most agonizing piece for me to buy a scooter, is because my wife is so short. And I've had to make all kinds of funky little extensions. I've had to like screw blocks on the passenger pegs just to get her comfortable while sitting on the back of the bike. So everything I looked at, it was always in my mind, how am I gonna make this comfortable? So this was a real agonizing aspect to my research. So I was really, really pleased to find one tiny little article about a guy who did some California touring, and his passenger was 5 feet tall, and they didn't say anything about her not being comfortable. So that helped me a lot. And then I was really, really happy when I bought it, and my wife got on the back. She goes, we don't have to make any modifications. This is just perfect for me. So if you've got a short rider, I think she has a 29-inch inseam. This is a great, great option. If you look at my Vespa over there, I've got those extension pegs that move the pegs back so that she can be comfortable on that. And I've had to do stuff like that on everything, but not on this one. So big, big plus if you've got a short passenger. So the next piece I wanted to talk about real quick was, it's a 400cc or 399cc engine. I had a Beverly 350, a Piaggio BV350. It had a 330cc engine. Nice bike, could do everything we wanted to do. Just wasn't quite as roomy as I would have liked to do this kind of riding that we want to do, you know, a little more touring-ish type riding, you know, a couple 100 miles a day. So the 400cc engine's kind of a weird engine size. It's the only one out there. I know that Kimco's coming out with their 550 here in the States. That's going to be a nice size. But then again, we start getting into some bigger weights. So let's talk about weight just for a second. This bike weighs 474 pounds. Seems like a lot when you hear the numbers, but it really isn't when you're sitting on it and moving it around. I can move it around the garage easy. You saw how easy I put it up on the center stand, and I'm just wearing some Santa slippers, so I don't even have good shoes with some good stiff soles on them. And it was easy to do. So I'm really happy with this engine size. It's going to do everything that we want to do. That helped me a lot. And then I was really, really happy when I bought it and my wife got on the bag. She goes, we don't have to make any modifications. This is just perfect for me. So if you've got a short rider, I think she has a 29-inch inseam. This is a great option. If you look at my Vespa over there, I've got those extension pegs that move the pegs back so that she can be comfortable on that. And I've had to do stuff like that on everything, but not on this one. So big plus if you've got a short passenger. The other thing to also keep in mind is dealer network. Now true, here in Utah, we do not have a lot of scooters around. It's like when I bought this bike in October of 2020, there were 3 of them in the state for sale. I did find a Burgman 200, and that just is the way it is here. We have a couple of Vespa dealers, so you can get Vespas easily. But the thing in my mind is, if I'm traveling and I've got it with me and something happens, there's a Suzuki dealer everywhere. I mean, multiple of them per state. So that helps, having a dealer network. One of the other real big sellers on these for me is the double disc brakes in the front. My 650 had the dual disc brakes, and those things were incredible. You can stop on a dime, and I really like that. And sometimes you need to have that security of having good brakes all the way around, especially when you're riding 2-up and you've got extra weight with you. There's the rear disc brake back there. I know it's a little hard to see, but just awesome brakes. And I think the Kimco AK550 that's coming out has dual disc brakes. Nothing else does. Suspension. So suspension's pretty important, and especially when you're riding 2-up. You don't want to bottom out. You don't want to, when you brake, the bike pull forward. So this bike has a single rear shock. Let's see if I can see it down in there. There's that back shock sitting down under there. And of course your standard motorcycle shocks up front. This thing it just floats. When you're going down the road, it just floats. When you're weaving in and out, because I've been, weaving in and out, testing it with dodgy manhole covers and whatnot, it just floats. I don't know how else to explain it. It just is beautiful. My Vespa doesn't ride like that, and my Piaggio BV350 certainly didn't ride like that. So this has been the best suspension on any bike I've ever had, even better than my 650. So the new design that they've gone to is just awesome. I also want to point out that it's very well balanced. I can almost keep it upright at a full stop without having to put my feet down. It just is really well balanced. So I think that's great. The other thing I really like about this bike is everything's LED. I've got all the LED lights on this. And I like how we don't have a turn signal sticking out of the side to meet legal requirements. They got it all built in. So that's a big deal. I like the LED. I mean, in this day and age, everything should have LED lights, and they work well. I've taken it out in the dark, and they've been awesome. So, hooray for LED. So let's go over a little bit about the storage on this bike. I mean, you buy a scooter not just for the no gear shift feature, but you buy it for storage. And some scooters have really good storage. Some scooters have really bad storage. This one has really good storage. So let's come over here and look at the front glove boxes. So this one here that I'm going to open is a 2.8 liter storage bin with some caveats. This is one of those things I didn't find in any of the videos. I didn't know this until I actually bought the machine. So when you open it up, you have this space, right? And it's a pretty good space, but if you can look down in there, that's the battery. So you've only really got just, you know, a little bit of storage space here, but you know, I got my garage door opener. You can stuff gloves and stuff in it, but it just is smaller than I thought it was going to be. Big deal? No, absolutely not. I actually kind of like the battery there. Some of the scooters I was looking at, the Yamaha X-Max, I think the Kymco AK550, you got to remove the windshield. It's all up underneath the front cowling, which, you know, who wants to take an hour to get to their battery if they need to replace it on a scooter ride? Okay, so that's that one. Now let's go over to the right side. Turn the handlebars here, and this one is a 3.8 liter. You can see I've got a park pass here, which is pretty long, and it goes back quite a ways. That's going to be a nice one. Now, the downside, the front boxes don't lock. Not a deal breaker for me, maybe for some, but no, I'm good with it. Okay, so let's go under the seat. All right, so under the seat, this is just an engine cover. Here's another thing I didn't know about. I think it's kind of cool, is we've got this little clip right here. This is a helmet hook. So that's kind of nice, because I really don't like filling up my spaces with helmets. So I always like to hang my helmets so I can pack the most stuff. So you can see I've got just one of my half helmets in here, but this is a 42 liter storage space, which is smaller than the first and second generation Burgmans, but I'm okay with it. And the main reason why I'm okay with it is I can always put a trunk on it, but it keeps the bike narrower. So you can see that back seat's a lot narrower. That also helps with short people. So the bike is slimmer than the old models. And so for me, that was another plus. And you know, while we're talking about that, you know, this newer generation, I think they're called Generation 3 now, it's got a nice edgy look to it. You know, the older models up until 2017 were really kind of roundish and bubbly. And it's a neat look, but I just liked, this is just more modern. So I really like that as well. And that little indent underneath the seat is the tool kit for the bike. And inside that tool kit is a wrench to adjust that shock. You can see the bolster piece here, that it's got the different settings underneath the seat. I should mention also that as I was doing my research, I also looked up maintenance parts, you know, belts, rollers, oil filters, air filters. The Suzuki Burgman doesn't seem to be any more expensive than a Vespa or a Piaggio BV350 the T-Max, all the ones I was looking at, I looked up pricing and availability. So hopefully that's helpful for some. Okay, so I'm nearing the wrap up here on this. I'm not gonna show a lot of the dash and driving it and all that. There's a lot of videos on YouTube for that. And seriously, they're better filming than I am. So, but I am going to point out some cons on the scooter because, you know, everything's got a con. To me, this is the most perfect scooter that I've had to date. So I'm really happy about that, and it will last me a long time. But there are a couple of cons, and here's con number one. This windscreen. That windscreen to me is terrible. I got more bugs hitting my sunglasses than I've ever had, and it doesn't really block a lot of wind. When my wife is sitting on the back, we can't talk after we hit about 40 miles an hour. Not comfortable to ride with a half helmet. So it's a full helmet ride right now. So the next video is going to be putting on a new windshield, a bigger one. I am a big windshield fan, so that's coming up. Another possible con, you'll have to make that decision for you, is it doesn't have traction control. You know, the new Beverly has it, the Yamaha T-Max has it, the AK550 has it. A lot of these new machines coming out have traction control. Now, I've never had traction control, so maybe I'm not gonna miss it. But if that's a concern for you, you know, the Burgman doesn't have it, and I don't know if and when they ever will put it on it. It does have ABS brakes though. Haven't really got a chance to test those out yet, but they're there. So let's talk about probably the biggest possible con on this scooter, and that is cost. So this scooter sells for $82.99. That's what the 2020 models are listed at right now. The Beverly BV350, which is a good comparable substitute if you're looking for size and CCs, they're at $85.99. Scooters then go down in price from there. I think the T-Max is like $56 or $57.99, something like that. Anyway, so a lot of people may get turned off on cost. You just have to know what it is that you're going to do with this machine. So for me, this one hits all of my check marks. The seat, the smaller, shorter passenger fitment, the CCs works for what I want to do. So all of those things need to be accounted for, and those don't necessarily have a price tag associated with them, but you do have to think about that. The one thing also to think about, and this is pretty normal, at least here in Utah, on scooters, is scooters don't sell very well here. So if a dealer gets one, he's gonna have it for a while, especially something like this. Now the Vespas, they sell faster. The cheaper scooters sell faster. So $82.99, that's the list price. This is a 2019, so it's been on the lot, it had 0 miles on it. I got it out the door with tax, licensing, dealer prep, everything for $81.46. So the price was significantly less. And if you bought the Beverly for $65.99, you're gonna have to add all those numbers. So I guess what I'm saying is sometimes patience and getting the last year's model could be the way to get something you really, really want. And I'm actually happy too, because I got this cool blue color. This is a 2019, they used this kind of metallic midnight blue. The color this year for 2020 is kind of a matte black that in the sunlight looks kind of grayish. I'm not a real fan of gray scooters or motorcycles because they look like asphalt, and so they're just in my opinion, harder to see. So anyway, so take that with a grain of salt. You know, price isn't everything. It just comes down to what you really want and how you're gonna use whatever it is you're buying. I probably am gonna hold on to this scooter for a very long time, so that price difference just comes down each year. So, okay, I think I've probably rambled on long enough. I will do some additional videos. Like I said, there aren't any videos on this generation of scooters doing upgrades or anything. So if I pan over here, you can see a couple of boxes right there. The small box is my heated grips. The big box is the new windshield. And I've got the top box stuff on order. So I will do videos on each one of those items. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you. Hopefully you learned a little bit that you didn't already know about the Burgman. And I will look forward to seeing you again.